He lifted his glass in my direction, his eyes sharp beneath the string lights, shining with arrogance. To the fool financing our future. Laughter followed, raw, nasty laughter, spreading through the room like liquor knocked over on a bar. And she laughed too. My wife. Not nervously. Not out of surprise. It was the kind of laugh someone gives when they believe nothing can touch them. I didn't react. Not there, not surrounded by their champagne-soaked smiles and empty celebration. I set my drink down, gave a single polite smile, and walked out. The winter air bit at my skin as I headed to the car, but I barely felt it. I didn't feel anything at all. The music from the party trailed behind me, dull and distant like the fading echo of a life I thought was mine. And in that moment, everything lined up. The late nights, the shared jokes, the constant "is like a brother." Brothers don't toast another man's humiliation. I drove home without a word. The first thing I did when I stepped inside was open my laptop. No rage. No yelling. Just cold, exact focus. His company had been chasing a merger with mine for months. A deal I'd spent a year shaping. I knew every detail, every clause, every weakness. They assumed I was too blinded by emotion to see what was happening behind the curtain. They forgot I built my entire career by keeping emotion out of the boardroom. Now, business was the only thing that mattered. Her phone buzzed twice that night. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. I already knew who was on the other end. I lay awake beside her, staring at the ceiling while she slept peacefully, carefree, unaware that the foundation of her secret world had already begun to collapse. I had given her everything: stability, freedom, the life she said she dreamed of. And she spent it all on a man who couldn't even pay for his own drink. For the next 2 days, I played my part. The quiet husband, the steady professional, the man who never causes a scene. Behind the curtain, I met with my legal team under the guise of restructuring. We dismantled the merger piece by piece, carefully, silently, without leaving traces. I moved my shares, cancelled future agreements, rewrote clauses that would expose them. Financially, legally, publicly. They still believed the deal was on track. I let them believe it. At home, she kept pretending too. Smiling over breakfast, messaging him when she thought my eyes were elsewhere. Once she looked at me with hesitation, like she sensed a shift. But I mirrored the warmth I used to give her. That's the thing about betrayal. Once you see it clearly, everything becomes glass. Every word, every touch, every breath becomes surface level. You stop hearing love. You only hear lies. By week's end, everything was set. The night before the closing meeting, her boss, the CEO, called. He sounded uneasy. My team had gone quiet. Their projections didn't match anymore. He wanted reassurance. I gave him the opposite. You might want to review who your employee has been doing business with lately, I told him. Silence. Confusion. Then the truth dawning on him. I didn't need to say anything else. The next morning, their boardroom erupted in chaos. My lawyers withdrew from the merger 15 minutes before signing. Millions disappeared in an instant, and by midday, his career was finished. I didn't witness it, but I could picture it. Her phone lighting up with desperate calls, her hands trembling as everything unraveled. At 1:47 p.m., she called me. I let it ring. At 2:03, she texted, "We need to talk." I replied, "Talk to your boss." I got home early that evening. She stood in the kitchen, eyes swollen, makeup streaked. "What did you do?" she whispered. I poured a drink, steady as stone. "Nothing you didn't set in motion." She stepped closer, voice breaking. "You destroyed him." I turned to her, really looked at her, for the first time in days. "No. He destroyed himself. I just made sure it was visible." Her lip quivered. "They fired me too." I nodded once. "Good." She reached for me. "You can't just walk away from this." I smiled. "I already have." And I left. 6 months have passed. She sent me one final message not long ago. Something about regret, about missing who I used to be. I never answered. That version of me doesn't exist anymore. Sometimes I still see her name pop up in articles about scandal, industry whispers, corporate rumors. But I feel nothing. When I remember that Christmas party, I hear their laughter, the moment they thought they'd made a fool of me. That was the last moment I ever cared about being anyone's fool. Because the truth is, I was never the loser. I was the lesson.